Is it working? I think it's working now. Hello, friends. How are you doing? I think it has started. Okay, cool. Hello, friends. How are you today? It is currently 8:04 a.m. in Hong Kong. Nope, the live just started because I couldn't get it to load. I had to turn on my VPN because I am in Hong Kong and I'm going to be showing you guys things that are using models that are blocked in Hong Kong. So that's why I have to use my VPN for this. Hello, thank you all so much for joining. All right, I'm gonna just get into it because there's like things that we need to get through. Could you show app building? Yes, that's what I'm going to be showing today. So today's live stream is going to be on vibe coding 101. So let me share my screen. My audio was not coming through, was it? Is it not? Oh, fuck. Okay, well, great. Let me start over again. I did not have any audio, didn't I? Shit. Okay. All right. We're killing the vibes today. No audio, just vibes. Okay, it's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna drink a sip of water. It's just one of those days. Anyways, what I was trying to say, thank you guys for bearing with me. Thank you very much. Okay. What I was so into what I was saying. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, okay. So first we're going to talk about vibe coding basics. You probably saw some people who vibe coded. I saw some stupid examples that people have done maybe. where they coded something, broke everything down, doesn't work properly, leaked their APIs. Like if you guys have been on Twitter, like X, like I'm sure you've seen some of that. But I also think that if you do know how to vibe code properly, like there is an art and there's a fundamentals to vibe coding as well. It also changes the way that you produce code, and you can be so much more productive, and it's so much better, right, than what you were doing. And this is also coming from people, like I have a lot of friends that work at tech companies, especially where they're like founders, what else, like startup people, like people in software, like who do software for a living, and they have also told me that they have it's just like vibe coding, like with AI agents, like code agents, it fundamentally changed the way that they code, and it's just so much more productive. Like everything is completely changed because of that. But you generally don't hear about this as often, just because people who are that proficient at vibe coding are generally also not the ones that are being the loudest on social media. So a lot of these like tips and tricks that they use to actually get good results are ones that you don't generally see people talk about on social media. So I don't want to say like vibe coding is a thing, and it can be used and can be very, very powerful, assuming that you know how to do it well. So that's why I'm going to go over vibe coding basics and actually like go through what the basics are. I am very much a type of person, I don't know, let me know in the comments like if you're also this type of person. Like if you told me just to go figure it out, like, you know, just like play around with it and then just like figure it out directly like that, which like a lot of really great engineers are able to do, to be fair. Like I'm actually not really the kind of person that does super well with that. I work a lot better when I understand fundamentals and basics and frameworks for things, and then being able to apply those things to a good context, like to what I'm doing. Like, I generally operate a lot better, as opposed to just like telling me to just like figure it out, everything out myself. So that's kind of the premise as well for why I'm not gonna jump like directly just like show you how to vibe code an entire app. Like I'm gonna show you the examples like where we're gonna vibe code some things, but I do want to go over the basics for that first. Yeah, and then we have time, I'll also show you some examples using Cursor and Windsurf, because in our team as well, like me and the rest of our team, within like the Lonely Octopus program, as well, which some of you may know about, we have also used, like people have used vibe coding for a lot of the clients that we work with. So I'm gonna see if I have some time, show you some examples with that, with Cursor and Windsurf, which are AI editor tools slash like AI agents, code agents, that people use. And then finally some best practices. Hopefully we can get through all of this. Okay, just want to make sure that did everybody hear what I just said? Do we have more comments, less vibes? I am not that great engineer technician, yes, but the person who reads all the manuals that fixes the world, not so much. Vibe it out. Yes, I'll find a way, but after fundamentals I learn. I can figure it out, but I can guarantee I won't be using anything like best practice. I agree with you 100%. Okay, cool. So some of you guys are like me in that sense. Like some people are just like, oh, like, you know, why can't you just figure it out? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I just don't have, I'm not like that type of person, you know? So I really like having like agendas and like fundamentals for things. Like if I can understand things in my brain, then I'm able to do pretty well in them, but I have to first understand it in my brain. All right, so the first thing, if I do this, you guys can see these as well, right? Okay, so having like I get like done the vibe coding thing a while myself, I did actually recently take this course called Vibe Coding 101 with Replit on deeplearning.ai. Just want to make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, it's a free course and it's actually like really, really short as well. So a lot of like what I'm going to be going through is going to be taken from this course, because I think it did a really, really good job of covering the frameworks for vibe coding. It has like things that I think is like not super necessary. That's why I'm not gonna like go through some of the other parts of it. And obviously it's like built by Replit. So like, you know, they're gonna show their platform to do it, which to be fair, like we're gonna do that too. It's really, really good. But I also just want to say like, yeah, if you have time, you should do this course, with a note that maybe there's some things that are a little bit more specific to Replit, but the like fundamental part of it is really, really good. So I want to go give like full credit for like the slides over here that I have. These are just taken, this specific parts are taken directly from that, from this course. So I also like put the source, the credit over here as well. There's obviously like a lot more they go through in this course, but I think these parts are the most important ones, and I think is the most helpful for doing that. Yeah. And if you want, oh, if you want like links to things, by the way, like the slide deck, as well as like links to the courses and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I should just sign up over here if you haven't already. It's also completely free. I email people the slides, as well as like any links and things like that I talk about after the live stream is over. So you should sign up there if you want to get access to the resources and things I talk about. Cool. Are you going to build an app? Yes, I will. Yes, I will do so. But I am first going to start off with actually explaining vibe coding first. And then we're going to go build something. That's why I'm also trying to be a little quicker here. Okay, yeah, so okay, let's start just like with the definition of vibe coding, just make sure everybody's on the same page. I'm sure many of you guys have seen Andrej Karpathy's definition of vibe coding. He was the one that came up with the term for it. The most important bit is here. There's a new kind of coding I call vibe coding, where you fully give into the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget that the code even exists. It's possible because the LLMs like Cursor Composer with Sonnet are getting too good. Also, I just talked to Composer with Super Whisper, so I barely even touched the keyboard. You know, you can literally just talk directly for it to come up with something. I can ask it for the dumbest things, like decrease the padding on the sidebar by half because I'm too lazy to find it. I accept all always, and I don't read the diffs anymore, right? This is coming from like literally, I doubt there are many people in the world better at coding than Andrej Karpathy. Yeah, anyways, so it goes on and on. It basically says that he, whenever he has error messages, just copy paste them in with no comment. Usually that fixes it. The code grows beyond my usual comprehension. I'll have to really read through it for a while. Sometimes the element can't fix a bug, so I just work around it or ask for random changes until it goes away. It's not too bad for a throwaway weekend project, but still quite amusing. I'm building a project on a web app, but it's not really coding. I just see stuff, say stuff, run stuff, and copy paste stuff, and it mostly works. So this is kind of the post that inspired a lot of people to start vibe coding. So to Andrej Karpathy, like I think when he wrote this, he didn't realize that it was going to be this huge, right? Like everybody is going to start doing the vibe coding situation. Because I think if he did, he may have worded things a little differently. Because the thing is, he's coming from a perspective of someone who's actually very, very proficient at engineering and coding already, right? So when he says that all he does is these things, there's like a lot of things that are going on in his head that for many people who are not that proficient at coding, especially people who don't know how to code at all, like, it's not as easy as just this. Like he's basically able to redirect the AI to be able to do things like decreasing the padding on the sidebar by half. Like even this statement, if you don't know anything about web development, where what's padding, right? You might not even be aware of what these situations are. Like you don't read the diffs anymore. Like if you don't even know what a diff is to begin with, right? Like whenever error messages occur. So he's like making a lot of assumptions here because he himself is already so proficient at coding that he makes it seem like you basically don't have to do anything and it will just like magically resolve itself, which is why a lot of people who literally don't know how to code at all took this at face value and started vibe coding when they actually don't know anything, and then started doing really dumb things like releasing their API keys to the public, getting hacked because of it, and just like a lot of these sorts of things that obviously Andrej Karpathy is never going to, like, he would never allow this to happen to his own applications. So that's why there is still like a fundamentals that you need to know about vibe coding, and not just literally do nothing, right? And another like very important thing to keep in mind is that it's not too bad for a throwaway weekend project, but still quite amusing. This is very important. He says that it's not too bad for a throwaway weekend project. Not that you can build an entire thing vibe coded, not knowing anything, because that still is different. You can use these like components, right? You can use like these different tools, and you can use it like as a demo really quickly, but it doesn't mean you can actually just deploy everything and actually people start using your app because of that. Okay. So I really want to make a very good point. I want to like point that out to people that it's not as simple as it may seem. Okay. So now let's actually talk about the framework that is going to be used. So from the course, I really like this framework. I think it's one of the best that I've seen so far. Let me see if anybody has any comments before I go on. Oh, thank you so much, Riz Pargu, for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. Do we still need coding skills with vibe coding? I think that's a great question. I think you need to have engineering skills. I think you need to have critical thinking and engineering thought processes. You don't necessarily need to know like exactly the code, but you can't like not like literally not know anything. Andrew Carthy says he cannot know anything because he already knows so many things, right? For the rest of us mere mortals, we do need to know some things. Okay, so here's the things that are within the course, which I think is great. So within the course, the presenter from Replit said that there are 5 major things that you need to keep in mind when you are coding, like when you're doing vibe coding. The first one is thinking, right? So like what does thinking mean? There are multiple different levels of thinking, and this is what I mean when I say you need to have like engineering thought processes. Like you can't just like think about whatever it is that you want. You need to think about it from an engineer's perspective. So first one, you have like, say you want to create a chess game, right? First you have logic, like what is the game, right? That is like the lowest level of thinking. And then the more analytical one, which is the second level of thinking, is how do I play the game, right? You got to think about like what are the components it is that you need in order to play the game. And then the third one for thinking, like the third level of thinking, is called computational thinking, which is what are the patterns behind the game. It's not enough just to know how to play a game. You want to actually understand like what are the different principles that are guiding the game. What are the boundaries that are there, right? Like how is it that everything is working together? So you need to like be able to actually think through this process before creating a game. And then finally, procedural is the highest level of thinking. And this is when you think about how do I excel at this game? So this is when you're not thinking of just like what the game is or how it is that you can be okay at it. You're thinking about what do I need to do to push the boundaries of the game? What are the strategies that are there so that I can be really, really good at playing this game? So this is a little bit abstract. Like I do understand that, and thank you for kind of bearing with me on this one. But why is it so important to start off with this? I think it's extremely important because it really showcases that when you need to when you're thinking about an application that you're building, try to think about it on these 4 different levels of what it is that you're building. If you can't describe your thinking from the logical, analytical, computational, and procedural perspective, it means that you don't even know what the hell you're doing, right? It's very important to know what it is that you even want to be building and be able to think through this, because if you don't know these things, then you giving it to AI, how is AI supposed to know what you're talking about, right? You need to think through this yourself. And the general way that we usually do this, like from a product perspective, is being able to come up with a PRD, which is a product requirements document, or ERD, which is engineering requirements documents. Like if you manage to come up with one of these documents, it means that you've been able to think through all of these things. I actually want to show you like a couple examples of what a PRD or like an ERD looks like. This is from like Within Lonely Octopus. This is like an ERD, PRD that we came up with. This is for one of the clients, and you need to be able to like think through it to not just like, here's like the what it is component, right? And like the project overview. You don't need to like know exactly what this is. It's fine. It's just an AI powered personalized nutrition plan for diabetes. You need to know like skills, like what it is that you want to be building it with, right? You need to know you want to be using Python, healthcare data processing, OpenAI's API, image processing, and UI development. So, this would be an example of logic, right? So first of all, what is it that we're doing? It's the fact that it's an AI-powered personalized nutrition plan for diabetes. Analytical, how do I play the game? So like here are the things that you're like describing what it is that you actually want from it. And also like these skills, right? Here's the things that you're actually going to be using to build the components of the game. And then what are the patterns behind the game? This is where, for example, there'll be like the milestones. Like here's the things that we actually want, like the actual like defining the key features that you want to see in your application. So milestone 1 in this case is that you want a personalized nutrition plan engine and be able to describe like what it is supposed to look like and how it's supposed to operate. And milestone 2 in this case is contextual customization. So these are the things that we actually want to have. And finally, how do I excel at the game? So this is like, how do we actually build this thing so that it's able to meet the client's requirements? And that is incorporated into the details of this. For example, it's very specific here. Generate personalized nutrition plans based on individual health metrics, including medical analyses and dietary intake data. See how like we define that these are the things that we want to be included, or like incorporate socioeconomic factors such as income, location, and local food availability to create feasible nutrition plans for individuals. And on milestone 2 side, here's like the factors we want to consider, which is literacy and education levels. I hope that makes sense. Write in the comments if you see what I mean when I say if you can come up with a PRD or an ERD like this, it means that you have truly understood what it is that you want to build. And only when you understand what the hell you want to build are you able to get AI to understand what the hell you want to build. Let me look at the comments. Let's see. Oh, thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. Oh my god, that honestly, it means so much to me. Thank you so much, Arkin. Glad you turned to a China. Yes, a China, because Hong Kong is one of the 4 Chinas. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It means a lot. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. I could never pronounce your name properly, so I do apologize again. Sukamrit? I remember, oh my god, this is when it has been a very long time. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I remember you starting your YouTube and now nearly 1 million. So proud to have known you since start. I'm thinking of shifting to IT from logistics. I'm so glad that you're still here. Thank you so much. Will this live stay on after? Yes, the live stream will stay on after, and as the pin thingy, the pinned comment, I don't know what it's called, the thing over there says, sign up for the workshop link. It's free. Then I'll send you like the slides and stuff through email and other useful things that are related to AI topics as well. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense? Yes. Okay, great. Makes sense. Wonderful. Yes, and I really think that is like the primary issue that many people have is they start building a thing and then they don't even know what the hell they want to build. So that's why they're like, they try to vibe code and they get upset because they're like, how come AI does not build me the thing that I want to build? I'm like, well, maybe it's because you don't even know what it is that you want to build, right? Like you didn't think through it properly. I also feel like a lot of like creators and stuff, without going too much into that, like they kind of perpetuate the cycle because they always show you like demo examples of something to build and they just only show you the tutorial. But usually when we're trying to build something, we usually care about the end result of what we're trying to build. So if you can come up with like a PRD or an ERD like this, then you will finally make sure that you've thought through all of the processes. And here's like another example. Maybe I'll go through it later when we have some time, where we're actually building right now. And this is like, I'm building it with one of my engineering friends, and he's literally one of the best engineers that I know. And this is the ERD, the engineering requirement document that he came up with. And he's also like told me over and over again, and obviously he's like much better at coding and vibe coding than me, like by far. He's like, if you can manage to spend a significant amount of time and actually create a PRD or a ERD, then he guarantees like whatever it is that you're building is just going to be so much better. Okay, so the next part after this, okay, so after you like think about thinking a bit, then you want to ask yourself, this is when we talk about frameworks, right? This is also from the course, by the way, like I love this part. So the course says you don't know what you don't know. And how do I do the thing I want? What frameworks allow me to do that thing and works best with LLMs? If you don't know, just ask. This is also really great because whatever it is that you're trying to build, chances are somebody has already built this thing before, right? Or something similar to it. Like if you want to have, I don't know, like a drag and drop UI component, you are not the first person to want to have a drag and drop UI component. So instead of just be like, oh, like build me drag and drop UI component, it's much better for you to actually figure out the frameworks that people have already used and instruct the AI in order to use it in a way that other people have already done. Don't forget, the way that AI is trained is based on the code that has already been generated and is available for people. So if you're able to direct the AI to doing something that has already seen, you're going to have a much better result than trying to ask it to come up with like a new innovative solution to doing something. And that is your responsibility to figure out what you don't know, right? Like maybe you're like, I want to do this UI component and I don't even know what it is that like makes up this UI component. Then what you can do is that you can try to actually learn. So instead of just like directly being like, make me this component, you can say something like, could you tell me about the common frameworks of how to implement a drag and drop UI component using like React, for example, if like for some reason you want to be using React, and then you can ask it to implement it using these predefined React frameworks that are there, and you're going to have a much better result than just not directing it at all. And while you're doing this, like asking it questions, understanding how these components are going together, you will eventually learn more about the actual domain itself. And part of like being good at vibe coding is not really just not knowing what is happening completely. That's like a misconception. You do want to know the general frameworks of what you're building, right? Like you want to know, for example, like what is a backend, what is a front end, and how it is that's communicating with each other. Maybe you don't need to know like the exact errors, the exact ways that things are connecting with each other, but you do want to know the overall structure of how things are being built. Like what in the world even is React, right? If you don't even know what that means, you're gonna have a really hard time trying to fit everything together, because you need. It's like when AI is almost like a little baby developer. You need to help it, like babysit it, redirect it in the right way to do things. And to do that, you yourself need to understand the big picture of web development, for example, if that's the thing that you want to be building, like a web application. Does that make sense? So that is the second thing. Understand frameworks for what it is that you're trying to build. Even if you don't exactly know how to do it, that's fine. But maybe if you don't know at all what it is that you're doing, then ask AI until you understand what the frameworks are. Any questions before I move on? Look, okay. I assume that this is fine. Yeah, okay. Makes sense? She's one of your ERDs and now she's doing frameworks. Yes. Would you suggest to brainstorm with an AI when first? Absolutely. Like that is a great question. Absolutely. If you can just, I really think people should start off with just making a PRD or ERD. Like maybe you don't exactly know, that's fine. Like it doesn't need to be perfect. But if you just brainstorm with AI and be able to come up with a PRD, that means you would have like whatever it is that you build it forces you to think through all these things already. Like when you're making a PRD, like with this, right? You can't, then you're like forced to think about the components that go into it. So you're like, okay, like what is it that I need to be doing? I need to be doing image processing. So then you can ask AI, what are the common frameworks for doing image processing within Python, right? Something like that. Or in this case, like the tech stack that's here, it forces, if you're creating this ERD, it forces you to think about like, okay, like what am I going to put as the front end, like Next.js, React base? What am I going to put as the back end? Okay, like Node.js with Express for API calls, right? And if you like don't even know what that is, if AI is like recommending you to do these things, and brainstorm through it and you don't know, then you should probably ask AI, like, what do you mean by Node.js with Express? Like, what does that mean, right? And then it teaches you to understand how these things are being put together, which is going to be really, really helpful. I think it's not super necessary if you're just starting out to like be super detailed. Like this is kind of top of the line. This is like engineering document for someone who is a senior engineer who is really, really good at what they do. But I do think this is what you want to be aiming for as you become better and better at vibe coding, to be spending most of your time focusing on defining this engineering document. Yeah. Okay, next up, checkpoints/versions. Yes. Okay, so this is something that always gonna happen. Your thing's gonna break, and then you're gonna feel sad. Just anybody that already does engineering things, like you're probably used to it by now. For people who are not as proficient, just know that part of engineering is literally things breaking. This is a fact, as it says here, is things break. This is a fact. You should use version control or checkpoints in Replit. So obviously, because this is using Replit, Replit itself has like these version control already, which is great. For other things, like honestly, most things do have version control now. Oh, actually, yeah, some people on X were posting how they like literally refactored their code one time and then lost everything because they didn't know what version control was. So you should definitely have version control, whatever it is that you're using, whether that be Replit, whether that be like, I don't know, like Windsurf, Cursor, whatever you're using, to be able to do this. So yeah, I don't think there's too much to talk about that. Basically just have checkpoints and versions and be able to roll back on things and be okay with rolling back on things if something doesn't work out. Oh, and then there's debugging. Okay, wonderful. So debugging, as it says here, is actually a bit boring, but you can make anything fun. Debugging is a skill, and this is also like an engineering skill and very much a vibe coding skill as well. You do need to know how to debug. Thing doesn't work. So the basic thing is here, the example that is given over here. I don't know if you guys see it, make it a little bigger. Lamp doesn't work. Is lamp plugged in? No. Plug in lamp. Is lamp plugged in? Yes. Did the bulb burn out? Yes. Replace bulb. Did the bulb burn out? Did the bulb burn out? No. Then repair lamp. Like this is the way that debugging works is like thing does not work, and you need to logically and systematically figure out what is the thing that is not working step by step. So when you're guiding AI, you can't just be like thing doesn't work, right? Like the whole thing doesn't work. You need to guide it, like give it pasting error messages, like what Andrew Parthy was talking about earlier. Like pasting, point it out to AI that, oh, like there is this error message that's happening, and then tell it to fix itself. That's part of the process, and a lot of times you would be spending just guiding the AI through this debugging process. Yeah, and then goals here is to understand how your app works, understand where the error is. So it's also still important for you to understand like what is exactly not working, like what is broken. Is like the broken part because your front end is broken? Is it your back end? Is it because it's not communicating with each other? Is it because like something is happening? As you're like vibe coding and you're seeing errors and things like that, and you don't know anything about engineering, it honestly is good practice to at least understand what the problem is while you're trying to help your AI fix it. Okay, here's like how can you get to the root and how can you tell the LLM what's wrong? Usually speaking, if you just take a screenshot or copy paste the error and what file it's coming from, it's good enough to do the debugging process. But do be patient because it's something that is going to keep happening. A lot of vibe coding is just pointing out to AI that it fucked up and being like, you fucked up, and AI being like, oh no, let me fix it, as we will see in a bit. All right, so the next part of this framework is context. So what do we mean when we say context? Context window is the amount of tokens an LLM can process at a given time, and context can be the prompt we provide to the LLM, but it can also be other things like images, documentations, error, and details about your app, environment, or preferences. Context is really important because LLMs might have outdated training data or lack details of their implementation. So that's why you need to provide additional context. What you want to be thinking of while you're going through vibe coding is providing additional context to your AI. Like you don't assume that it knows things because it doesn't know things, right? Like treat it as a junior engineer and you can't expect it to just magically know things. So every time that maybe it's not doing something the way that you want it to, think about to yourself, how do I give it more context? How do I give it more understanding of what you're thinking? With the PRD, it usually is really helpful because when you actually provide the full PRD to the AI, it's able to gain the context of your goals, what you're trying to build, and all these things as well, right? But when something doesn't work or as you're going into additional things, just whenever something comes up, try to think about how do I increase the amount of context that I'm providing to the AI. Any questions or comments? What types of errors can occur? Oh, so many types of errors can occur. Want me to show you all my errors? Let me show you all my cursor errors. Yeah, maybe let me just like, I don't know why, but let me just show you some of my errors. Okay, so for example here, right? This is all the types of errors that will be showing up using cursor, like npm error, this related to npm error, all these other errors that are happening. Yeah, like I would say something like it shows it refuses to connect. I'm pointing out what the problem is, right? And it says, I see this site can't be reached error. This is happening because we need to install the required dependencies to properly set up the Next.js application. Let's fix this by following these steps. And it tries to fix the errors. And I'm like, oh, how can I see the results, right? Like error. And I'm just like showing it pictures of errors. Like this is what I mean when I say so much of vibe coding is just you showing the AI a bunch of errors that it's running into and telling it to fix itself. Okay, let us go back to, oops, that is not correct. Okay. All right, let's actually start Replit and jump into things. I think I have like a couple more slides before we can jump into things. Okay, so getting to an MVP, I have a couple more slides here. So yeah, the goal is like getting to a minimal viable product. Like you don't want to think about it, add in like so much detail about everything, about every single feature that you can possibly think of, because you want the general engineering principle of good engineering is that you want to get to a minimal viable product first. You want to make the thing work first. Get the thing to work. Can you guys hear the sirens? I don't know if you can hear the sirens. Why did you switch from Python to Node.js? I didn't switch from Python to Node.js, Ralph. They're two completely separate projects. One of them is in Python and the other one was in Node.js, I think. If you're referring to the PRDs, that's why. Okay. Yeah, anyways. No? Okay. I will continue then. Yeah, so the general engineering principle is that you want to get to an MVP first, try to get the thing to work, give AI only the information relevant to the MVP, start small, work up, and provide foundational context and important details. After you get the thing to work, then you can start tweaking things, like maybe you don't like the color, maybe you don't like the way it doesn't respond correctly to certain things. You can start fixing things, but just try your best to get to an MVP first. And implementing new features, when you're implementing any new features, try to provide a context relevant to the new feature, mention frameworks, provide documentation with explicit details on implementation, and make incremental changes. And when the thing doesn't work, then when you start debugging it, you want to figure out how things work, figure out what's wrong, figure out how to get information to the LM to get unstuck, and figure out how to direct context. This is the general kind of like flow of what you're building. So you have an MVP where your feature, you test it, maybe it magically works and you just get to a checkpoint. Probably what's going to happen is that you're going to get an error. You're going to be like, oh no, and then debug the error with your AI until it can figure it out and get to the checkpoint. And then you're like, yay, this thing works now. Then you want to go back and implement another feature to your MVP, and you just keep doing this until you get to the product that you want to have. Okay, let's start with an example. So this is also an example from the course. The initial prompt that they're using. So they didn't use like a full-on PRD. They have like another one where they did, and I usually personally do go on, like I would just put like full ERDs or PRDs, but I also feel like this is a lot more beginner friendly. So let's use this example that they provided here. So the prompt that they're going to initially provide is this one. So I'm actually just going to copy paste it into Replit. And have it start running because it takes a little bit of time, and then we'll go through that. Where is Replit? Okay, yeah, so this is Replit, which is the platform where you can build things and deploy things very, very easily. So we'll have that like start running, and this is the Replit agent, right? You can see it's like very, very similar to the chat interface that you've probably used before. So it takes a little bit of time to run, so I'm gonna let it do its thing. The agent is going through all of that. Okay. And let's actually go through the prompt itself. So what we're trying to build here is an SEO evaluator. And the prompt is, help me create, make this a little bit bigger. Help me create an interactive app that displays the SEO meta tags for any website in an interactive and visual way to check that they're properly implemented. The app should fetch the HTML for a site, then provide feedback on SEO tags in accordance with best practices for SEO optimization. The app should give Google and social media previews. So this is a nice little beginning prompt for making a little demo project like this. You say you're writing specifically that you want an interactive app that displays the SEO meta tag. So what they highlighted over here is that see how it was very important, is very useful for you to put in domain specific knowledge, understanding how your application works. You said specifically that you wanted to display SEO meta tags, right? If you like didn't even know what SEO meta tags were, you probably wouldn't write this, and you probably would end up with something that is not industry standard. So that's why it's very important to actually know your PRD or ERD, like what it is that you want to be seeing in the end. It says in an interactive and visual way to check that they're properly implemented. And then it also says over here, this is like understanding of how web applications work, how applications work. The app should fetch the HTML for a site, right? Then provide feedback and SEO tags in accordance with best practice for SEO optimization. So the only way you would have known this information is that you had an understanding of how SEO tags are embedded into the HTML of the site, and anyone can access them. So like if you didn't know that, you would probably not be super specific in order to, you would not be super specific, and in order to actually say like what it is that you want the app to do. Like if you didn't know what HTML is, you don't know what like SEO tags are, how it's being embedded, you probably won't end up with the thing that you want to end up with. So that's why like you by properly defining your PRD and your ERD, you understand how it is that its SEO tags are embedded into HTMLs. By the way, you don't need to know this because, you know, it's fine if you don't know this. But I hope that makes sense. How it is that you need to know these details while you're building what it is that you want to build so that you have a much higher chance of getting what it is that you want. Okay, so here from the Replit side, we basically gave this the tag, and sometimes I would also just give, you have like a wireframe, if you have a picture of what you want it to look like, you can also like put the picture in as well as additional context. In this case, we're just putting this directly. With Replit, the way that their agent works is that it's quite cool. It comes up with like a plan for you. So I'll help you create an interactive SEO tag. Check your application, let me analyze your requirements and propose a plan. Let's make this a little bit bigger. So it says, looking at what you want to build an app that checks SEO meta tags on websites, visual representation of the tags, Google and social media previews, and feedback based on SEO best practices. Let me create a comprehensive plan for this project. And it says that you can build the initial prototype, and then it also asks you, like, would you like any of these additional features? We can also make changes later, like saving and comparing multiple website analyses, blah, 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 like all of these things like that, right? So remember from the slides, like you want to start off with just the MVP first. So you want to have just build the initial prototype first, and we're going to click approve, plan, and start. Replit is really nice because its agent is like super visual and beginner friendly. We'll see like later on Cursor or Windsurf, it's not going to be as like nice to be able to do this, and it's not going to be like visual and pretty the way that it is here. Obviously, like the trade-off is that because it's so visual, it's so pretty, all these things, this is usually like Replit is something that is used for beginners or people who want to build a quick demo very quickly, and be able to have it deployed very quickly. But it's not suitable if you want to build something that's actually like industry standard or it's much more customized. Then you would want to actually use something a little bit more advanced like Cursor or Windsurf to build it. But it is a really nice tool to get started with. And this is the visual preview of the app. Really like this about Replit. Like, it basically, the agent is working right now, and it shows you like, here's the components that it's working on, and this is going to take a little bit of time. It says that the first app version is going to take almost 10 minutes and visual preview is going to be 2 minutes, so we can let it do its thing. And I'm gonna see if there's any comments that people may have. Should we believe SEO actually works? Google will not list your page. I don't know, honestly. I'm not an SEO person, so I don't know, can't answer that question. Let me see. Does anybody have any questions so far? Did you test Devin, Manus, or Open Hands? I did not test Devin. I did try Manus, and I did not try Open Hands. No. Yeah. Never got off the waitlist. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. Bob Jones question: once you have built an MVP in Replit, how do you move it to another platform? Great question. So on Replit, you can actually see, like, you can see it populating files here. Like, I mean, there's not really anything happening right now, but there's like a Git file that's doing version control. So you can actually download the code for this as well. You can get the code, you can like put it into like Windsurf or Cursor or something like that if you want to continue building based upon this thing. That's actually a great idea. I had never really thought about building like the initial thing on Replit and then migrating it onto something else. That's really smart. Thank you for that. Maybe I'll try it out. You know what? Why don't we actually let it do its thing on Windsurf and Cursor as well? So I just wanted to like show you guys what the difference is like between Windsurf and Cursor versus Replit. Let me get like a new environment. Okay, let's open this, and I will show you Windsurf and Cursor. Cursor first, yes. Okay, so this is Cursor, and we can have a new chat here. I'm just gonna like exactly paste the same thing that I did onto Replit and then click send. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I'll help you create an SEO tag analyzer app that provides visual feedback and yeah, whatever. I see we're starting with a fresh workspace. Let's create a next.js application with TypeScript support, as it will give us a good foundation for building this SEO, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's like just doing its thing here. So we'll let that run. And on the side of, might as well just do it on Windsurf as well, since we're at it. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna have enough time to be able to go through all the results for it, but I do want you to see like the experience from all of these different ones, if possible. At least the initial experience. Okay. Oops. Let's call it Windsurf YouTube stream demo. Great. Open, allow, sure. Okay. Let me show you the Windsurf thing. Where are you, Windsurf? Okay, here. Yeah, so this is Windsurf. Whoops. Make this a bit bigger. Okay, yeah, so this is Windsurf. You can see that they're all sort of like similar, and we're gonna paste this exact thing into the chat as well, and let them all do their thing. So yeah, same thing here. I'll help you create an interactive SEO tag analyzer app that provides visual feedback and website metadata, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so it's basically saying like Windsurf suggest a terminal command. I'm just going to accept it. Oh, and we got our first error. I apologize for the error. So I think the initial thing that you can see, the way that Replit, the reason why like these things happen on Replit as well, but it get resolved is because Replit is actually not doing things on your local computer. Like it's done through their cloud, like their services. So that's why like a lot of the errors and situations that is happening, it's still happening, but it's being handled on their side. And that's why Replit is able to produce something usually without going through like a lot of these setup problems, while for like Cursor or Windsurf, because you're developing on your local environment on your own computer, you end up like having like issues like these, and you have to resolve them as they come along. Obviously like the downside of that of using something like Replit is because it's not developed on your local computer, so once you actually get it down, like maybe you'll have like issues with it later, and you have like less control over it overall. So sort of the trade-off, like I think if you're a beginner, I would stick with Replit. And if you're someone who's a little bit more advanced, like Windsurf or Cursor is going to allow you the freedom to build a lot more things. Okay, going to Windsurf. I apologize for the error, blah, blah, blah. Okay, suggest the terminal command. We can just accept this. Yeah, and honestly, like a lot of it is just going to be like this. Now set up a Next.js project for SEO tag analyzer app, and then just you don't necessarily need to know like what exact things are happening, and we just accept it and run the command. Okay, and we can go see what is happening on the side of Replit. Where did Replit go? Here. Okay, cool. Replit. Okay, so Replit is doing Replit things. You can see that a lot of files are being generated now on the side. It's all like nicely self-contained here. And I think it's like very important as it's doing this, the agent is still working right now and giving you a preview of this. Like some important things to know here, like maybe you don't exactly know what these files mean, right? But I think if you have like no idea what's happening, it's important for you to understand file structure. One of the biggest difficulties, I think, with these when creating these projects, especially as the projects get bigger, is the way that the files are organized. It can get very confusing, and a lot of times like you need to consolidate or maintain the file structure that was initially done, where else your code starts overlapping all over the place and things are not organized properly. So understanding, for example, that like there is, when you're creating a web app, there is such thing as you know, like a front end, right? Like for example, the client is like a front end, and then you have index.html, which is the thing that showcases what it is that things are supposed to look like. And you also realize that there's a server side, which is the back end. And then it's important for you to know that like, oh, like routes, like this is how it is that you're able to communicate with the buttons and things that are happening over here. Does that make sense? Write in the comments. Makes sense. Write in the comments, write in the chat, like, make sense, if that makes sense to you, as to why it is that you need to be able to understand like these file structures, even if you don't exactly know what is happening over here. Because then you can say something like, this button's not working. Look into the routes.ts and add another thing that is specific to this button, right? If you did not know what this is, then you could not have directed AI to complete something like that. Oh, look, the agent needs your feedback. Wonderful. Let us see what it needs feedback with. All right. I'm gonna move my face over here. Okay, so it says, I've set up an interactive SEO meta tag analyzer application that provides visual previews and best practices recommendation. Let's see how it's working. And it said that created a foundational UI with your input form, implement the SEO analysis function. Could you please now test the application by entering a URL into the input field and clicking analyze? How do you find overall design and functionality? Is there anything that doesn't work correctly or should be improved? Wonderful. So it looks like we can actually try it out now. Let's do that. One sec. This formatting is weird. Okay, so this is the way that it looks now. We can do something like https lonelyoctopus.com. Okay, and see, we have an MVP working. This is obviously not great, so we want to fix this in a bit. But you know, we have the overall components here based upon our prompt. Your website has good metadata, meta tag implementation. It says title tag, meta description, OG tags, and Twitter cards. I honestly don't even know what that means because I'm not actually an SEO person. So Google search preview. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Detected issues, title length is optimal, meta description present and well informed and well formatted. Here's what it looks like. Twitter card preview looks like this. LinkedIn preview looks like this. Okay, great. And it also has like all meta tags. So the way that it's shown over here, I think, let me just move my face over. Yeah, I think this honestly looks fine the way that it is over here, right? It's showing you all of these analyzer things, and then it also has recommendations, and it says that recommendations to improve SEO meta tags, consider adding a robots meta tag. The robot meta tag tells search engines how to crawl and index your page. Okay, cool. And you can copy the code to be able to do that. Honestly, like overall, not bad at all. I mean, this doesn't look very nice, which we can fix by continuing to vibe code. And the other thing is that you notice how here it is not responsive. So say like we were putting it, yeah, like this does not look good, right? Like this does not look good. You can like see what it looks like on different screens and stuff. So like the first thing that we probably want to improve on is that we want it to be mobile responsive, like you want it to be fully responsive. So let's actually do that. Oh no, where did my tab disappear to? Come back. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, so make my app fully responsive and mobile friendly, right? So it is able to adjust itself, and make sure that the padding and alignments are correct. Um, let's see. You can also just say like right now I can actually add like a screenshot here. You can say, oops. Okay. I can add this as a screenshot. Where did it go? Like I don't like the way that this looks. So I can say DSCO meta tags score overlaps. Please fix this. Okay. So we will let it run. Yeah, okay, we'll let this run. And while it is running, I did want to share with you guys that I have a sponsor for this portion of the video, and this is actually really exciting because I don't usually do this. It honestly makes doing these live streams super motivating, much more motivating for me, and also helps me provide these content to you for free as well. And this is a sponsor that I've talked about a lot, so I'm just gonna quickly go over Brilliant. And Brilliant is one of those, I've worked with them literally for like 4 years now, almost like 5 years now. So I'm really, really happy that they agreed to sponsor this portion of this live stream. So the way that Brilliant works is this is their homepage, and it's a platform that teaches you STEM subjects. Remember what I was saying earlier about how important it is for you to learn about the fundamentals for things like engineering, like being able to think like an engineer, even if you don't know specifically how to code anything. I think Brilliant is a really great platform for you to learn this. It has a lot of courses that you may be interested in, like data analysis, science, circuits, digital circuits, things like that. The course that I think is really, really helpful, a few of them, thinking in code, I think is a really helpful one, and also how AI works. Like I think this is one of the best courses I've seen that is able to explain to you like how it is that AI actually works properly, and it can be really helpful for when you're working with large language models and different AI tools to actually understand like what is going on under the hood, right? And this also doesn't involve any coding as well, so it actually explains to you the fundamentals for how things are working. Yeah, and you can see that I can show you like a portion of it. It is extremely interactive. Like, what do you notice about the network prediction? In this case, it does well on some digits and worse on others, right? And you're able to go through these and check like that's incorrect because I didn't see what the actual answer was in this case. But yeah, it's very, very interactive. So I think if you're interested in learning STEM subjects, this is a great way for you to do that. And the course that I recommend you look into specifically if you're interested in vibe coding or engineering is Thinking in Code, which is great, and then How AI Works if you're someone who's interested on the AI side of things. But yeah, if you're interested, I'll actually link a link over here onto the live stream as well, where you can get started for free. Yeah, you can start using Brilliant and do the courses for free. If you like it, you also get 20% off the premium membership as well, if you do. So please check it out if you're interested. Let me put the link there. And we can check on Replit in the meantime. Where's my link? I really need to be more organized. Being organized is not my strong suit, as you can tell. And thank you again so much for supporting this channel. It honestly is really helpful. It's very motivating for me as well, and helps me continue to provide content to you for free. Yeah, you can get 30-day trial for free on Brilliant. Try out the courses. If you like it, then you can get the premium membership. Yeah, there is. Yep. I have the link over here. Thank you so much for asking. It honestly helps me out a lot as well. Like if you if you're gonna buy, like if you like it and you purchase it through my link, it helps me because it shows them that I am someone that is worth sponsoring and and they would continue to sponsor me in the future. All right, let us go see if Replit is working. Where is Replit? Okay. All right. So it says, I have made, the agent is still thinking. Okay. Oh, and also like on Replit, you can see that it tells you like exactly what it's doing as well. Like open this file, blah, blah, blah. I think it reviewing your message. It's still, let's now make the necessary changes to make the application fully responsive and fix the SEO meta tag score overlap issue. So I think it's still processing that. Okay. While it's doing that, let's actually check on cursor. So you can kind of see the different experience between cursor versus Windsurf versus Replit. Where is cursor? Ah, there it is. Okay. All right. So what we left off at cursor was, what the hell was cursor doing? I don't even remember. Okay. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Cursor's like, yes. Like, let me do all these things. To get started with this project, you'll need to create this script. Okay. So I have to run these things. So I need to run these things, copy to provided files into respective locations or project structure. This implementation provides all of these different things as well. So yeah, I just wanted, you can probably see like the experience on cursor where Windsurf is that it is a little bit more of a setup heavy. So especially when you're starting off the project, you're gonna need to spend like a significant amount of time, more time spent like setting it up and then running things into the terminal, into the command line or the terminal as well. So apply. Yeah, we're basically like giving it permission to do all the things that we wanted to do. Okay, so would you like me to explain any particular part in more detail or help you set up this project? So I think we can just say, please set up the project. Yeah, it basically told us like this is the type of implementation it's going to provide a clean modern UI with Tailwind CSS styling. You also can see like how it's a lot more technical, right? Like the things that it's saying to you. So you like don't know what that means. It would be a lot harder to use something like cursor. Real-time SEO analysis of any URL. So it's going to be harder for you to do that. Well, Replit, you can see that it doesn't, I think it just doesn't go into as much detail, like technical detail for things. This is nice if you know what it is that you're doing. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, so it's just sort of doing its thing. Yeah, and then it's just going to keep generating code, and it's going to take some time for it to continue to do that. And checking on Windsurf, what it is that is happening with Windsurf here. Okay, so again, like blah blah blah, like a lot of things happen. I see that there's already a basic server, and it's basically just saying like, let's create a React front end for SEO tag analyzer. First, let's create a directory structure for our front end. Accept. Okay. Now I'll create the necessary files for our front end. Let's start with the main HTML file. Blah blah blah. Like it does this as well. So I want to make a note that you technically don't need to accept everything. Like you can actually just let it like run by itself, but that could be dangerous because you would just be giving it permission to run things on your terminal, on your command line. So I generally don't allow it to run everything directly because it is like, you know, my actual environment that's happening here. So I would actually like confirm every single thing it does. Well, on Replit it doesn't matter because it's on their servers, right? So it's okay that even if something messes up, you can always just restart everything again. Yeah, like you don't need to open diff. Like, yeah, you can open the diff if you want and go look at it, or you can like not do that as well. So version control is happening also over here. So a lot of times like version control is already being implemented in whatever it is that you're doing as well. Okay. Oh shoot, we're like super over time already. I'm gonna go back and okay, was that like helpful? I hope this was quite helpful in terms of at least like letting you see what it is that these different experiences are looking like. You need to use agent. Oh, did I not use agent? I'm pretty sure I was using agent, wasn't I? I am using agent. No, I am using agent. Yeah, cursor tab. I am. And agent on Replit as well. I am using agent. Let me go back to Replit. Okay, let's just try to get this. I want to at least like get Replit, like go through a few iterations of Replit to show you guys before ending the live stream. On Cursor and Windsurf, we could do like another session on this if people are interested in more in Cursor and Cursor and Windsurf, where you have like a little bit more control and granularity to it. But I do want to at least like show you guys what Replit ends up looking like. Yes, it's super helpful. I'm really glad. Does Windsurf or Cursor, or whichever this one is, provide the ability to ask it questions in English like ChatGPT about your project? Yes, it does. It does. So whenever I run a new project now, it used to be like such a pain in the ass whenever I have to run something because I don't know like how things are formatted. I usually just use Cursor or Windsurf directly and just tell it to run it, and just I ask it to like explain to me the file structure of an application that I got from GitHub or something like that. And Replit can do that as well. Like for example, you can do something like on Replit, you can say like what's like a question. Oh, okay, explain. Oh, actually on Replit I believe that they have an assistant as well where you can actually ask these questions, while the agent is more for like building things. So I think for the assistant you can ask it something like, can you explain the file structure of the SEO tag scanner, something like that. And yeah, you can like ask it things. So I'll explain the structure of the SEO tag scanner application. Here's the main directory structure, client, server, and shared, front end. And then yeah, it's like able to explain these things, and you could ask it to describe like what's happening on each of these and how everything is interacting with each other. And on Cursor or Windsurf, you can also do the same. Cursor and Windsurf, they don't distinguish between assistant and agent, so you just put everything directly into the UI that you're chatting with. Okay, let's go back to agent and see here. I've made several improvements to make your SEO meta tag analyzer application fully responsive and mobile friendly. I fixed the overlapping SEO meta tag score by improving layout and spacing, made all components responsive with proper sizing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's actually see if it works. Let's do it again. Lonely, oops. Octopus.com, analyze. It did not do that. Sometimes what happens is that it doesn't necessarily, the preview, you need to like try something a little bit different. So let's like use a different website. Yeah, sometimes like you have to try out the different website. I don't know why, but maybe it works. Okay, it still does not work. It did not do that. Fix overlapping SEO meta tag score by improving layout and spacing. You lied, you did not do that. But let's see if it actually is responsive now. Okay, it is responsive now, I think. Full size. Okay, see the formatting? So it did fix the formatting issues, and it adjusts to different screen sizes now, but it did not fix that part. So we are at time, but I'm gonna just try this one more time by taking a screenshot and then just being like, the 80 and the green circle is not formatted correctly. There is overlap, and I want it to be, I want the number 80 to be contained within the circle. Hopefully that works. Maybe it doesn't. Part of the process. Okay, we'll try like this one more time, and if it doesn't work, it's fine. Like another thing is when it comes to like this kind of situation, if you really get irritated, it's like, this is so annoying, and you know how to code, what becomes helpful is that you can like just go in and fix the formatting yourself as well. Like you can actually change the code yourself, so it can be very helpful. So do that, but we're gonna assume that we don't know how to code. Your app has crashed. Shit. It says it's going to update the score circle component. Let's actually go see exactly what it's updating. Okay, so we have over here, it's basically changing the circle. So it deleted this part of the code and it's changing the circle so that it's formatted differently now. And we'll see if it actually works. Start application. The VS Code team recently added agent mode, thus I would give it a try and see how it goes. I actually haven't tried that. Let me know how it goes. It has screenshot tools built in. You can just ask it to take a screenshot. That is true. I did not know that either. Thank you for letting me know. I've just been like taking screenshots and dragging it in directly. Always learning something new. Thank you so much for always sharing updates on tech, especially with AI. Thank you so much for being here. The wonders of vibe coding, of vibe doing. Hi, thank you so much for being here. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work. Replit Assistant is a ripoff. I would avoid its 0.05 cents per edit. Oh yes, that's a really good point. So Replit has a free version, which is what like I started off with, but actually I paid for it to make sure that I can actually show you guys this demo. To be honest with you, I don't personally use Replit that often. I think it's really helpful when using a demo. That's why like I paid for it, and when I show people how to do it, I would use something like Replit. Because you can see like using cursor or Windsurf, there's like a lot more setup that's required. I think Replit is a lot more expensive, and if you don't know how to code and you're just starting out, it can be useful until you figure out how to vibe code things better. And then I would honestly switch over to a code editor, like unless you're fine with just paying more in order to get a better experience. So yeah, I would agree with that. That is my honest opinion about this. Is it working? Okay, I fixed the score. It said it fixed it. Did it? Let's see. Please work. Also, part of vibe coding is that you pray that the thing just works. Please work. Please work so that I can look like I'm a competent vibe coder. So this live stream doesn't think that I don't know how to vibe code. I mean, I guess it kind of worked. It just removed the number. Oh, fuck. Okay. I'm gonna try this like one more time. All right. This is like triggering me now. The 95 is no longer there. I still want the number contained in the green circle. Honestly, at this point, I would just go in and fix the code myself, but we're going with the vibe coding technique here of not fixing the code yourself. It's okay. I mean, everything else I think is fine. It really is just that part. I'll probably also just ask it to change some of the colors around. I mean, these are all good, but if it's like not good, I would want it to change the colors a little bit. Okay, guys, maybe third time's the charm. Okay. How can you tell if it's telling you the truth? How do you know if anything's telling you the truth? It's now actually acting like a junior coder. That happens to me a lot of times as well. I found that it works harder if I say it's a safety issue. You have to wave the AI wokeness for you. Tell it to put the number 80 in the center of the circle. So I'm worried that if I tell it to put the number 80 for that specific thing, then it's gonna hard code the number 80 into the circle. I've had that happen before. Maybe get a concrete font size for a number, maybe point. Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah, let's try that. Why couldn't you just copy the code into a text box and ask it to fix the code? You could do that, but I think in this case, like, you want it to look a certain way, right? Like, if you just point it at the code itself, it wouldn't know like exactly what about the code that you want to fix. This is like honestly such a junior developer situation. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna remove the whole thing because I can't figure out how to do it. All right, hopefully this works. Make me look good. Yay! Wow, look at that. We managed to make it work. That was actually a pretty good ending, isn't it, guys? I feel accomplished now. I managed to get the number to fit into the green circle now. Cool. All right. Well, you can obviously continue doing this and then just coax it into doing the way that you want it to. Don't have so much time right now to go over cursor and windsurf, but perhaps we can do that in a future session if there's enough people who are interested in doing that. I do send out surveys periodically as well, like about what people are interested in. So sign up for the workshop. It's honestly really helpful. It's also how I figure out like what people want, right? So if people are interested, we can do that. But at least we managed to get this to work. I hope this was helpful, useful, interesting as you do your vibe coding journey and to get the fundamentals. I'm just gonna like paste this thing again. It is just sign up here if you want to get the slides and links and things like that. It is free. Yeah. Cool. All right. Can't wait for the next workshop. She liked my point. I'm a total noob. Hey, it worked. Yay. Isn't that a great ending? The circle, the numbers in the circle now. Wow. So amazing. What a wonderful day. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you guys in the next video or live stream. See you. Bye.